My name is Ash. I'm from Houston, Texas. How I Met Your Mother means comfort to me. 2009, I lost my very young mom, 37 years old, to a very rare form of cancer. And in turn, I lost everyone that I called family. So 20-year-old me, very lost, very confused, and very alone, had this show. Being able to connect with characters and feel a comfort that I hadn't felt since my mom had been around meant so much to me and really did help me grow as a person. I've carried this show with me throughout my adulthood. Now I am 36, and it really means a lot. I actually got a chance to see one of Josh's shows in Houston a few years back, which was also very comforting and brought that same feeling back. I'm so grateful that you're doing this podcast, and I am eternally grateful for How I Met Your Mother.
I'm alone, what a pity, I won't be soon in New York City. When I see you, please permit me to tell you everything in New York City.
Well, hello out there, listeners and watchers and fans of How I Met Your Mother. Welcome to How We Made Your Mother. I'm Josh Radnor. I played Ted Mosby for 9 seasons on How I Met Your Mother. I am joined by my friend Craig Thomas, who co-created the show with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh.
How's it going?
I every time, Alek, you make me cry with these openings of the show. What a beautiful story. What a beautiful story. Thank you, Ash. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I think when you're in grief and something makes you laugh or someone makes you laugh, you almost always forget it. There's something about anything that can, I don't know, alleviate a kind of heavy moment with some lightheartedness. You feel grateful and loyal to that thing forever. That sounds like what we were able to provide for her.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I can't imagine how hard that was for at such a young age to go through that. If the show provided comfort, it's amazing. It's amazing that it seems like she's almost the age now that her mother was, if I was tracking that correctly.
Yeah.
So for the show to have meant that to her, and now she's an adult and at that age, and like that it's still part of her life. Thank you so much. That is very much was our greatest hope in making this show, that it would reach somebody like you, Ash, and at the moment you needed it. Thank you for letting us know that. I mean, that is the greatest gift, just to know that.
And if anyone has other stories they'd like to share about what How I Met Your Mother means to them, or something funny, or it can be anything, please go to howwemadeyourmother.com, go to contact, and write us a note. Drop us a voice note. We're always happy to hear from people, because that's why we're doing this show. And today, speaking of the show, we are talking about, I would call this a season 1 classic. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I would also say, Jordana, obviously my wife, she had never seen the show, but when I said it's called Nothing Good Happens After 2 a.m., she says, I know that phrase. Like, I think it's one of those
that's
phrases.
Happening now. Yeah, that's how things are getting out there and boomeranging back at us. And people are like, that's a phrase. And it's like, actually, I think it's because of our show.
We might have invented that phrase.
Well, so that Courtney Kang's mother, Courtney Kang, one of our writers' mother, would say that to Courtney Kang, and then it made it on How I Met Your Mother. So maybe that was a phrase that Courtney Kang's mother was somehow going back. But
at least in the Kang household.
At least in the Kang household, it was a famous saying.
Yeah. But it does feel like now it's one of those things, maybe it's sticky, because you don't have to live long to have proven the truth of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we've all had that thing at like 2:30 or 3, and you're like, why am I here? This is where bad things happen. This is the hour where dark things happen.
The decisions aren't getting better from here on out.
Right.
We're not going to get, there's no upward trend at this point.
Yeah.
And I love that feeling in this episode, that feeling of immediate ominousness. You know what I mean? Future Ted telling his kids this law of physics, this law of the universe, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. And the whole episode, immediately it's going to go bad. It's like a disaster movie. Like, there's going to be a tornado. There's going to be an earthquake. Like, something bad is going to happen, and it does. And I sort of love that about this one.
Remember I told you that thing of if you were a character in a movie, what would people be screaming at you to do or not do?
Yes.
And you have this chorus, especially Marshall and Lily. Barney seems a little more encouraging, but they're like, they know this is a bad idea. Please don't go over there. So let's just set the scene, set some context for this episode. Alek, when did this episode air?
This aired on April 10th, 2006.
April 10th, 2006. Okay. And Craig, give us the kind of synopsis of, and start us at the end of Life Among the Gorillas, because that's really where this episode gets teed up and kicked off.
Can I just note that the episode before this came out on March 20th? So you had 20 days.
There was a big gap, which is funny because when I watched this last night with my wife, and like I said, we never did those previously things. Do you know what I mean? The previously is baked into the episode on this one.
Right.
It's so basically the narrative's like, here's what happened, or, you know, just previously on How I Met Your Mother, basically. And it was because of I said to her, I think there was probably several weeks of wait from that one Monday to the next, and it was a cliffhanger.
But isn't it funny? Like in 2006, we somewhat still had attention spans and collective cultural memory that we do not have now. Like it's been so eroded at this point. Like if it's on the next day, you have to be like, previously. Here's
what happened. Yeah, let me remind you how you got here.
We know you've forgotten. Yeah.
So yeah, that was funny to see that. I think it may be the only time in the series we kind of quite baked it in that overtly. Like you need a reminder, audience, of what happened. But the cliffhanger at the end of Life Among the Gorillas is that Ted is waiting late at night to get a call from Victoria, who's in Germany, and many hours ahead of him the next day. And the phone rings, and it's not Victoria, who he thinks is calling him to break up with him. It is in fact Robin, who is inviting him over at about 2 a.m. And the episode takes off from there. It's the dilemma of, what do you do? What do you do with this? You think you're breaking up with your long distance relationship, and the girl you're kind of secretly or not so secretly in love with calls you over at 2 a.m. And that is this episode.
Yeah. What these phones that they had, did they have caller ID? Like
I kept wondering that. No one knows who's
looks
calling.
at the phone. Everyone just answers the phone like it's like a landline,
Yeah. And in fact, it's a crucial plot point in this is that Robin would answer the phone, not seeing that it was Ted's phone lighting up with Victoria's name, because it's not a smartphone. It's 2006. It's a flip phone. I think you just opened the phone and answered it. I mean, at some point, flip phones or you could see, right? At some point now, like I'm looking at you, Leah, like you remember this. I don't know why you're the expert in this, but
I think there's a little glass thing on the front that you could see. But this is also back in the day when people were answering phone calls. Like no one's doing that now. Like no one's. It's like an etiquette breach to call people. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's an incredible invasion of privacy to call someone without texting first. People are just calling each other and not knowing who the fuck's calling. It's the Wild West of phone calls.
Then. Jesus.
Yeah, it's the Wild West of phone calls. Crucial plot points in this are related to that, and it does feel like a tick dated, but you need to make the buy. My favorite thing about here's my 2 favorite things about this episode, and the first one will sound like I'm criticizing, but Carter and I wrote this one, by the way, the brilliant Carter Bays. I feel like Carter did excellent work on this one. I feel like maybe he started this one off, and then I kind of counterpunched it a bit. Really brilliant writing. I love how it's kind of largely in real time. It has that really urgent feeling of like it's all happening late at night. It feels late at night. It feels like you're dizzy and drunk on the lateness of the night and the ominousness of what may happen. I really like that vibe. My first comment on that episode is, I love how few jokes there are in it.
Yeah.
That's a really weird compliment. I mean it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Because it is daringly and defiantly unjokey. And I really like that. I really like it because it is a play, this one. This is a theater.
Totally.
Your acting in this episode, Josh, is A, superb, and B, theater acting. I mean that in the best possible way. You are acting a drama in this episode in the best way.
Well, it's also like it's theatrical in like almost a classic sense. It's like there's a ghost in this episode. It's like
That's
Hamlet
my thing
or something.
Too. You stole my thing too. My second comment is it's a fucking ghost story.
Yeah.
This episode's so great because it's a ghost story. How great is Ashley at playing that ghost version of Victoria that's
so
kind
great.
of Victoria, but kind of different? I was blown away by how great the 2 of you were in those scenes. Like truly great. It's Hamlet. It's our town. We are tapping into like the theatricality of the ghost character. The whole episode is the ghost.
This, what episode is this? 18?
18. Out of 22.
So you're 18 episodes in and you've established a kind of rapport with the audience. The characters are so sharply etched and defined at this point. The on again, off again, the love story or almost love story of Ted and Robin is so firmly established.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have done a masterful job turning Robin's affections toward Ted very gradually to the point where she kind of can't, and it's just such a great thing, especially for like a love avoidant like Robin. Because she can't have Ted, her affections get amplified so much, right? But you've really narratively just pulled back the bow. It's so taut at the end of Gorillas. Yeah. So when you let it fly in this episode, it doesn't need jokes because it's also, the stakes are quite high. The stakes are higher in this episode, I would argue, than any other episode in the first season.
100%.
I think one of the things that Marshall and Lily are scared about is they realize that this friend group is pretty special. They like Robin. They like having Robin around.
Yes.
They've really grown accustomed to having her around. And Ted and Robin are threatening this ecosystem. They're threatening the the kind of petri dish they're all living in.
Which is interesting too, because like Marshall and Lily kind of go from wanting Ted and Robin to get together to not wanting that in this episode, because it will be built on a lie, and the foundation of this relationship being built on kind of this crime that Lily calls it. She's like, don't start it this way, right? If you guys are going to become that couple that we sit on that front porch with in the future and grow old with, and we'll all be couple best friends forever, it can't be built on like this really messy moment at 2 a.m.
And I wrote you this little ditty to sing to you in New York City.
We'll be right back. So, Craig, I'm exhausted, but I'm back. I'm back from my Midwest swing of the Eulogy 2 tour.
You're back.
And this guy, I think I signed a vinyl record for him. And he said, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. And he said, what advice would you have for me? And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? And he said, just advice. What advice would you give me? And I said, is there any zone or area you're looking for in advice? He said, no. I just want advice. And I was baffled. What are you supposed to do when someone just wants general advice? General advice.
General advice?
So, I said to him, I said, well, work on yourself, which also isn't possibly general, but I didn't know what else to say. And he was disappointed. He thought that was terrible advice.
No, well, I have one. Well, here's the advice you could have given him, and it's advice for yourself too. Because while you're on that tour, I bet your apartment was just sitting there at home doing nothing. Nothing. You know why? Because you never learned. Josh, you could have hosted your place on Airbnb and made some extra cash, and so could that dude, and that's the general advice that you should have given him and yourself.
This is the kind of information dropping that makes me realize you need to come on tour with me always.
I know. I thank you. I've been trying to wedge my way into the tour, and I keep not getting an invitation. Now it's on record, so now I'm invited. There, you can't uninvite me. Hey, everybody, your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
Craig, even though we worked for years together on television, you know that I started on the stage as a stage actor, right?
You still trod the boards at times.
I do. And, on TV, you can mumble. They got a microphone right up. But on the stage, you got to get it to the back row. People got to hear what you have to say, right?
Yep.
So I'm always looking for new warm-ups to move the mouth and lips and teeth and tongue around. And I think I found one.
What do you got?
Pretty litter, kitty litter, but real fast, over and over. Pretty litter, kitty litter, pretty litter, kitty litter, pretty litter, kitty litter.
Ooh, I already messed it up.
Pretty litter, kitty litter, pretty litter,
kitty litter. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
It's going to take me a while. Listen, the warm-up is a lot tougher than the product is to use. So you track your steps, you track your sleep, you even track your screen time. Why wouldn't you track your cat's health too? That's why you got to use pretty litter, kitty litter, pretty litter, kitty litter. It's like smart tech for your litter box. The color-changing litter actually monitors your cat's health. This is so high-tech. By detecting potential issues in their urine, things like pH changes or blood, so you can catch problems early. What else you got for us, Craig?
It's actually very high-tech and amazing. It helps monitor your cat's health, detects abnormalities in your cat's urine by testing acidity and alkalinity levels and the visible presence of blood. Pretty Litter ships free right to your door. No heavy bags to carry. That's a good point. No big heavy bags. Those things are 30 pounds, 50, 40 pounds, 155 pounds. Formulated with silica gel crystals that are safe for cats, and people are like, Josh, let's get a cat together. Let's use Pretty Litter, Kitty Litter. I can't say it, though. I can't say it as fast as you. This is why you're the actor.
Right now, save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy at prettylitter.com/HYMYM Whimyum. That's prettylitter.com/HWMYM Whimyum to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/HWMYM.
Please note, Pretty Litter cannot detect every feline health issue or prevent or diagnose diseases. A diagnosis can only come from a licensed veterinarian. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Pretty Litter, Kitty Litter.
And now, back to the show. Did you by any chance, I just read this yesterday, and I know I referenced an Atlantic article in the last episode. You're going to know what my reading habits are. But there's an article in the Atlantic. They're
one of our sponsors. No, wait, that's MeUndies. Sorry, I confused sometimes the Atlantic with MeUndies. Sorry.
But the Atlantic, they have an article about how The Simpsons is essentially a moral show. Like its moral center is very strong.
Totally agree.
And back in the day, remember when Bush 1 said we need a culture much more like the Waltons than the Simpsons, and it was considered like because Bart was like disrespecting and he was an underachiever. We thought it was leading to moral collapse. Not we, but you know what I mean. Like the kind of so. But they said like The Simpsons is essentially like if you really track it, it's got like a really strong moral center.
It definitely does.
I would argue that How I Met Your Mother has a really strong moral center in that, Lily also often functions as the moral conscience of the show.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's often the one saying like, you can't do this, like this is wrong, like this is gonna, but I agree that I wonder, was that something you guys ever discussed or is that just an outgrowth of you and Carter being generally like good people? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Or is that something TV has to be moral? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I think we wanted, thank you for that. That's very nice. And yeah, I think we're people. Here's the thing. Here's what I think we're aiming at. To know that the show had a moral core, but to still show these characters doing the wrong thing sometimes, especially Ted, who is so winning and charming and he's so open-hearted and but he's still a guy. He's still a guy who has these feelings for this beautiful woman who has called him at 2 a.m. So I'd say like, yes, a moral center from future Ted telling, from moment one, even from the ending of the previous episode, future Ted's kind of saying, buckle up. Your old man fucked up here a little bit, kids.
Yeah.
But
it's also, it just occurred to me, the very convention of him telling his kids, like when we tell our kids stories, we're trying to not impose, but we're trying to impart some moral lesson. Yeah.
That's the moral part. That's the moral part is kind of future Ted looking back going like, this wasn't me at my best.
If I can spare you this in your life, listen to your old man right now.
Yes, because I still don't feel good about this. These things that you tell yourself you are okay at 2 a.m, you may not feel that way even 25 years hence. Yeah.
It occurs to me also, Ted has a break glass in case of emergency catchphrase that seems to grant him permission to do whatever he wants. And but it's Robin. Like whenever he says,
like
it's
he would justify
Robin,
murder.
Yeah,
with
that you murdered a man. But for Rob, I did it.
But it was a hitchhiker, Ted. It had nothing to do with Robin. You just hit a guy.
But Robin.
No, it's really true. Now, when you got this script, did you feel like, because like Ted is all of a sudden in this crime movie at 2 a.m. in this episode. Like this is like a different Ted, a different tone. What did you think when you read this one? Were you at all like, ooh, this is messy for Ted? Or were you like, ooh, cool, this is juicy for Ted. I get to do some good acting here.
Oh, no. I was thinking as an actor, you're like, this is gold. I have a long running argument with my dad, and I don't know if I've shared about this, but it's worth sharing. This has been a decades long argument with my dad. My dad watches things and he's a big consumer of TV. He loves TV, but he also watches everything through this like pretty strict moral lens where he'll finish like 75% of the things he finishes. He goes, why did they screw up their lives so bad? Why do people make these choices that screw up their lives so bad? And I always say, so you could have a TV show to watch.
That's not super fucking boring.
Yeah. I said, do you want to watch people make the right decisions all the time?
Totally.
Like, there's no story.
There's no
we
story.
tell stories about fatal flaws, about hubris, about this is when I really stepped in it. We like to watch people get tangled in knots so we can watch them to untangle.
That story is conflict, right? That is it.
Yeah. So when I, as an actor, you're looking for, oh, wow, this puts me in, this ties this character in knots. Like, this is going to be really fun to play because to play, you know, two different things that are pulling you in two totally different directions. I mean, it's really a war with his, it's his ego and his superego and his id kind of hashing it out. You know, he's really at war with himself. And the specter or the ghost of Victoria is just his own conscience spinning this apparition to be in front of him to play the other side out.
Yeah, it's almost future him in too. Victoria's future him and Lily's kind of future him. And there's like 3 future Teds kind of in this episode being like, put on the brakes, buddy. And he can't quite do it. He tries.
Can't do it.
He really does try at a certain moment to do it in the episode, which I also really liked. Right. And that one that right before he really tries to say goodbye. I love that. I love that moment where like you try to pull out of the nosedive.
But it's also so true. There's that, okay, I should go. And then there's the hug, which doesn't break.
Yeah.
And then there's like,
So great.
are we trying to pull out of the hug? Oh no, our cheek are brushing against each other. I guess I'll go. Oh, now we're kissing. Like there was
you guys played that great, by the way.
There was something really so great about the choreography. Just that it was so
now right
so
before that take,
recognizable.
what disgusting thing did she whisper in your ear right before that take?
I
going
don't know
back to
if
what Kobe
we
said she always did.
Yeah, I don't think
kidding.
we were at that because I think that started when they started
When
dating.
they were in bed.
When we were in bed and had the couple thing going.
Yeah, I'm teasing.
Maybe even Kobe was like, I don't know him well enough to drop the
that was
the scat humor I'm gonna drop later.
You built to that, which makes sense.
Exactly.
No, I really felt that electricity in your performance here. Her too. I mean, the two, but like following Ted out there from Manhattan to Brooklyn, it's like you're witnessing. There's this real feeling of like, he's in trouble. He's transgressing. You know what I mean? You've got a bag full of produce.
Yeah, the juicing is so funny. But you know that I think Jordana kind of responded when he said Park Slope and pointed out like the Upper West Side to Park Slope is a real journey.
It is.
Like it's not 15 minutes.
Get a lot of time to think about it.
It's a lot. Even late at night, that's still going to be like, is that like a 40-minute ride?
I'd say solid 35, 40 minutes.
It's a 35, 40-minute ride. So he has a lot of time to fantasize. And then he has to switch cabs because the cab driver's drinking.
But I felt the electricity in your performance. I could tell like you were into it. You know what I mean? You were like, you knew this was a juicy one. I thought that would be your answer, that you'd be like, no, I saw this was juicy.
It was almost like... as a theater actor, which at that time I still considered myself mostly a theater actor. That was where most of my hours as an actor were on stage, not in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But there was something and I think it's significant that, you know, Carter was late to Wesleyan, right? Because he had won like the Young Playwriting Conference and he had an off-Broadway production of a play in New York City when he was 17 or 18, right?
It's true.
And there was always something, and maybe that's why I got the role or some sort of, I always felt like your guys writing, this one in particular really could have been a play. And I approached it, I think, as a play.
Yep.
You know, the scene in the bathroom with Victoria and Ted felt the most kind of like a scene in a play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true. You guys didn't have a ton. I mean, you cut back to, Marshall and Lily and Barney, which I now realize, if we're really following this through, they're the Greek chorus, right?
They're the Greek chorus. They don't really have a story going. You know what I mean?
No.
They're really there for Ted.
I mean, Korean Elvis
is amazing, but like they really are there. It's all, everybody's on one track basically, right? It is like theater in that like there's no B story. Carter always talks about that. He was always a great voice of like, let's not be slavish to B stories and C stories. Some episodes are the A story and everything is everyone's weighing in on that. Especially these ones that take place in kind of in real time. And so many great Himium episodes are like that. Carter was a great, he was a religious devotee to, let's make it one thing. I mean, not every episode is that. Not every great Himium episode is that. It's good to mix it up. But to be able to do that speed is great.
It's two things. One, when you're telling a story to your kids, it's like, it is kind of strange when you go, meanwhile, over here,
this unrelated thing was happening.
Which doesn't actually have that much bearing. But we talked about this earlier, but like, when there's an event like Nothing Good Happens After 2 a.m., no other thing is going to be admissible. It's the thing. It's the thing, yeah. I love how the episodes, I love going back to Robin's day, like showing how she got in this pretty fragile, vulnerable, somewhat needy place where she was like, I need this guy to come over right now.
Yeah, I really liked that. Here's 20 hours earlier. And like, it felt very cinematic, that moment. It feels more like a play or a movie, this episode, than a sitcom episode, which I love. And I love meeting Sandy Rivers, by the way. We got to give a shout out to Alexis Denisof. Yeah.
Unbelievable introduction to Sandy Rivers. But there was, you guys didn't go to this well all that often, but every time you did, I thought it was hilarious, which is her kindergarten class.
Yes, so funny.
Always funny.
Are you a lesbian?
Are you a lesbian is so funny.
Boy. Oh my God, so
and
funny.
Then also Barney, like, you know, just being like, we're not going to talk about my job, we're going to do magic.
Gonna do magic. And Robin
he crushes, he absolutely
And
kills.
Robin had to sit there, like, dying inside about her own identity, watching him kill in front of these kids. Yeah, her having this horrible, like, soul-searching day, including being hit on by Allison Hannigan's husband, not in real life, but the character he played, Alexis Denisof, who is the nicest dude in the world and leaned into playing this smarmy asshole character so hard because he's the nicest guy in the world and knew he could.
Also, it should be noted that's his real hair.
Yes, it's
that's
wonderful.
His real hair, just
his
newscastered out.
Totally newscastered out. It's so not who he is in real life, but he really enjoyed.
Do you know what was funny when I was watching Alexis? Who I just. It's like I hadn't forgotten how good he is, but there's so much pleasure in watching.
Yeah.
He does this weird thing, which Neil does a lot, which is like, it's an incredibly kind of broad character at once, but it's also subtle. He's doing something very subtle. He's doing
something subtle too. It's really true.
But the way he was just kind of listening to her, like on the phone, and the way he was kind of the nonchalance, which was he suggests that they should have sex with each other.
Yes,
I love so much how he said, having sex is fun.
Having sex is fun.
so funny.
So good. Allison always says to him, and it's sort of like a compliment to both his looks and his acting. She's like, he's a leading man. He's a character actor trapped in a leading man body. Like he's a good looking dude, but so capable of leaning into that character-y stuff too, while maintaining kind of a groundedness. I am a huge fan of the show Angel, which he was brilliant on. Alexis was, and it was so we were thrilled to get him on this show.
I remember that Alexis, and he did a bunch of episodes as Sandy Rivers.
He did,
but he never didn't kill.
It was just murderer's row. It was all killer, no filler.
It was like table read, run through for the crew. Yep. It was like, I mean, he had literally like a perfect score of just crushing every single time.
He just inhabited it so well.
It's funny. Sometimes there are, we took a clown class at NYU, and it's kind of like, it was like finding what your clown is. And your clown might not be goofy. Your clown might be arrogant. Your clown might be a blowhard. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it feels like Sandy Rivers is like Alexis's clown, or one of his clowns. Like it was just something that he did so effortlessly, and it looked like he just knew how to be Sandy Rivers, like from the moment he came on.
That could have been a whole TV show. Like if there was a TV show about if like New York Metro News 1 was a TV show, he would have been like the Barney of the Metro News 1 TV show.
I mean, he's like Frasier Crane in Cheers or something, you know, like he was unbelievable.
So that's our second Himium significant other, 2 episodes in a row, right? Life Among the Gorillas was Taryn, and now Alexis is in this one, and there will be more. We're keeping account.
So a lot of times you would go in for, you go in for these fittings, on a Monday after the table read or a Tuesday after the run through, they ask to see you, and you try on a ton of clothes, and they just pick. And a lot of times, Jason and I, the biggest bonding Jason and I did for 9 years was we would often stay in the same jeans and just swap out our shirts or sweaters.
Yeah.
But we would change on set because we didn't want to walk back to our dressing room, right? So we were constantly just shirtless, talking about things, you know. But in this episode, Ted wears the same thing for 2 episodes straight. So I remember you go in with the casting director and you're like, well, we got to find something we really like because you're going to be in this for 2 episodes. And the fact that we landed on that shirt is astonishing to me. Astonishing.
Talk to me about that shirt. This was
that shirt. I don't know in what, because it's not a shirt I would ever wear in my life. Ever. Back then or today. But for some reason, I think sometimes there's like a weird euphoria in front of the mirror. Like you put it on, the costume designer really likes it, and you're like, yes, right.
Like your voice goes up, right?
Like this shirt looks fantastic, but it's Robin. And then I watched the episode, and I'm like, how did we land on this shirt for these 2 episodes?
I know. And when Ted's going out to like sexy times potentially, like it's sort of a very weird, bold shirt. Like how would you describe that shirt for people who aren't looking at the episode at this exact moment?
I don't even know. It almost feels like the Tim Robinson thing of like the patterns. Remember the pattern shirt? Like where everyone's insane.
Dan Flash's
pattern shirts.
Yeah,
That's what it feels like.
If you stared at it long enough, you'd devolve into madness. Like those.
Well, it was softened a little bit when he had the blazer on. Yeah. I will say that. I was delighted to hear my friend Rachel Yamagata's
that song is so good.
Sorry,
I
think that's
were you friends at that point, or did you become friends because we like used your music on the show? How did that happen?
No, I think we were friends. So I became friends with Rachel because my friend Amy went to college with her manager. So we started going to her shows, and Rachel and I became friends, and now we're really good friends.
You might have recommended that we use that song. That song is, I think you did.
I think I did. I will take credit for it.
You did. Now it's come back to me. And I was watching last night, and I said, how beautiful is that song? I mean, that it just sets that tone of
that's his perfect song because it's a waltz and it's got this like undercurrent of late night sadness to it.
Late night sadness, and it feels that's it. It feels sort of sleepy and sad, but a little dizzy. Like there's something about it that was the perfect moment it perfectly landed where Robin got to as she made that phone call to Ted. Right? That was our big challenge. How do you make the sale that she would choose that night to call him? And that was what that act of that episode, that 20 hours earlier, tried to do.
And also little touches like the enormous glass of wine she pours herself, you know, like there's just something.
Yeah.
We get into those nights where you just feel particularly self-pitying and lonely.
Yeah. And it's again, like that 2 a.m. thing of like, I'll always feel this way.
Yeah.
You can very easily convince yourself at 2 a.m. that I will always feel like this.
The 20s are, you don't have enough experience having gotten through those nights.
Yes.
So those nights when they come feel the dark night of the soul is particularly dark.
Agree. You know? And I think you haven't seen enough of those through to remember what the other side feels like.
Yeah.
So you make bad decisions sometimes. And you think, you chase things that maybe you shouldn't. And she's chasing something too. She knows Ted's still with Victoria at that point until he lies and says he isn't, which he needed to sort of make the whole story work, which boy, that rewatching that moment, Ted, that's a big old lie right there from Ted. And he thinks it's a lie. The ends justify the means. The ends are, I'm going to marry Robin and this will just all come out in the wash. And boy, it does not work out that way at that moment.
Well, it almost also feels like I'm going to break up with Victoria in 6 hours. So what's the harm in changing around the timeline a little bit?
Arguing the semantics, the way we argue the semantics of things to our advantage. And then sometimes karma goes, nope.
Right.
It doesn't always, but sometimes it does. And that isn't how Ted and Robin were meant to begin. And it isn't how they began.
Man, he must admit he fell in love with you in New York City.
And now, commercials.
Well, folks, it's summer, and we need good earbuds to listen to all our good summer tunes. Raycon's everyday earbuds are the perfect summer accessory, whether you're going hard at the gym, enjoying the sun, and or taking those work calls outside, or jamming out while barbecuing to your favorite tunes. Enjoy premium audio that goes where you go.
Raycon's latest model is better than ever, with a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. That's cool.
Speaking of battery, with Raycon's quick charge function, just 10 minutes of charging yields 90 minutes of battery. Perfect when you're on the go.
These earbuds also come with active noise cancellation, something difficult to find at such an accessible price point.
Raycons start at just half the price of other premium audio brands.
So listen, if you're listening to this podcast, you can get a little deal here. Go to buyraycon.com/yourmother to get 15% off Raycon's best-selling everyday earbuds. Right now, Raycon is offering 15% off their best-selling everyday earbuds only at buyraycon.com/yourmother, like this podcast. Buyraycon.com/yourmother. End of commercials. Back to show.
Did you guys have any discussion, if you can remember, on like the juicing is so funny? Like, I got this new juice maker. Do you want some juice? Like, it's so lame, but also like somewhat plausible. Like, it's just such a strange thing that they both know it's ridiculous. They know that's not really what's going on, but they jump into it with such gusto, the two of them.
At 2 in the morning.
He comes over with like fruits and vegetables.
He got a lot of stuff at the late night.
He got a lot of stuff at the bodega.
Yeah.
That can't be like the best quality. Fruits and
immediately she's like, want some wine? And it's just so funny. They abandoned the juicing immediately.
We'll juice, and what does he say to we're juicing as friends to the cab driver?
We're juicing as friends. So funny. I love future narrator Ted's presence in this one, where just every so often he'll just be like, go to bed. It's like he's watching it with us. He's like the football announcer, like, no, they shouldn't run that play.
Right.
Stop it. Don't do that. And
I also love when Marshall pops in with, it's too late for juice.
It's too late for juice. It's so funny. It's, I love, there's certain movies like this too, where you go into the movie knowing all the bad things that are going to happen. And the joy is in watching exactly how bad it gets and how badly they unfold. This episode is like that, right? This episode is, you're going in there, like, no one went into Titanic like, I wonder what's going to happen to that ship.
Right.
This episode is kind of like, the ship's gonna sink.
Right.
It's just the details along the way.
In that way, it's both classical theater, but it's also a bit of a horror film in some ways.
Yeah, it's late at night. There's scare. I love the shout out to John Swihart, our composer. Like because Rachel Yamagata is great. The music placements, that's Andy Gowan and Josh Radner bringing you those songs. Andy Gowan's our music supervisor. The composer, if you listen to the score, it's very like there's kind of like a Moonlight Sonata, kind of like creepy, sort of late at night classical, but there's some tone of late at nightness that is set by that score that is really great. So shout out to John Swihart on that one.
What I remember Neil and Jason loved, like they get in a fight, right? Like they get in a, and they have to scream at each other over that table.
Oh, I know what
right?
you're gonna say. I know what line.
It's I'll show you things you've never seen before from Jason. Is that the one you're thinking of?
That. Yes, he says that, but I have a different favorite jibber jabber improv that he threw out at that moment, which is I used to box in the army.
Oh wait, is that Neil or Jason?
Jason spits out both of those in rapid succession.
Those were his lines, right?
I think he just improvised those. Yeah, I don't think.
For some reason, the one I caught was "I'll show you things you've never seen before."
What's that mean?
You can find that on YouTube. You can find the full sort of outtake of just the two of them yelling.
There's also a great outtake if you look up the bloopers of him when Kobe pours that giant bottle of wine and starts drinking it, and she's just drinking it, and you hear Pam Fryman go, it goes on and on. And Kobe clearly is wondering, when's Pam going to call cut? And Pam just says, I'm just going to have you drink the whole thing. And she's like, God damn it, Pam. It's a very funny Hemian blooper. You can find it. Everyone was bringing their A game on this one. And I also love Barney's kind of side quest, if you will, of like, we're going to make this night legendary, and I'm going to disprove this truism from Ted's mom. And I love that they all know Ted's mom's line. You know what Ted's mom always says. Like the whole group of friends reframes it that way.
Well, he's probably invoked that so many times when they want to stay, or Barney wants to stay out, and he's like, well, Mrs. Mosby says. Ted
has probably tried to talk Barney out of terrible things, but with that phrase, and now here Ted is, no better than Barney in this moment.
I mean, it's kind of like, Barney's whole meta narrative is he's a magician who pulls it out of the hat at the last moment, right? Like he's really just we can turn lead into gold any time if we just decide. And it doesn't even have to be sex. It doesn't have to be exciting. It can be weird. Like Korean Elvis serenading Lily is like good enough.
Licking the Liberty Bell. That's not sexual. It sounds sexual, but it's not. But yeah, I think
it's just it had to have never been done before.
He's in search
New
of...
is always better, right?
New is always better. He's in search of the legendary, and sometimes that's women and sometimes it's not. And I really like how I thought of this watching this episode. The characters are very aware of... The characters are aware they're in a story, in a way.
Right.
Sort of characters react as if they know a future person has re-enlivened it's sort of making them relive the story, and they're vaguely aware of the story's happening as it's happening. And like Barney saying like, you know, there's a freeze frame when after Lily kicks Korean Elvis in the nards, and freeze frame narrator says that would become known as the night Lily kicked Korean Elvis in the nards. And immediately you come out of the freeze frame, Barney's like, hey guys, remember that time Lily kicked Korean Elvis in the nards? It happened 5 seconds ago. This idea of like branding things, we will remember this, future us will tell this story. Hey Ted, don't do this. You're screwing it up for future you. Future you, if you get with Robin, does not want to start your life together on a crime. There's just this weird kind of meta narrative thing.
Even the whole show starts with, you know, I'm going to tell my kids about this night. Like Ted in particular is, and Barney too, are they all are. You can make the case they all are. They mythologize their life
in the moment.
They Gene Shepherd their life. They make it, what's that? There's that Richard Rohr line, or someone said this: if you don't mythologize your life, you'll pathologize your life. Like it's actually it's really healthy to look at your life in this kind of narrative way. So you can also see if you mythologize your life, if you look at your life narratively, you can see that. I think it's really healthy. Like one of the features of depression, say, is that you feel like nothing's ever going to change and nothing's ever going to, it's static, it's never going to change. But if you're in a story, you know that stories are always changing. Characters are always growing. Characters are always moving through things and getting onto other adventures. And I think it's actually, you know, we don't want to be grandiose about it, but I think there's something healthy about looking at your life from a narrative context. But you have to hover a little over your life to do that.
I think that's right. You have to be seeking some kind of meaning or pattern in your life in the moment to even imagine that a meaning and pattern will emerge later.
Right.
And I think that's what the show is. And the characters are aware of that.
And it's a little chicken or egg. It's like you can be on the hunt for meaning and pattern, or you can have detected a lot of meaning and patterns. Yeah. But you know, just honoring that they are there.
But even and what Ted's doing in this one, he's trying to change the meaning with words in the moment and saying, well, if I'm going to break up with her tomorrow, it's the same thing as if I already broke up with her, which he doesn't know. That's why she was calling. He does not know that. And he's so rationalizing himself into what he wants in that moment. And he's trying to kind of create a different meaning that isn't really the truth. And the truth, there's kind of an organ transplant rejection happens there of Ted's attempt to turn it into this other narrative. And it's like, nope, I'm sorry, that's not going to fit here.
I think it's funny how Ted takes the juice thing literally in that he goes and buys vegetables, but it's clearly, as we said, it's not about the juice, except for Marshall, who's like, and then she's gonna make you some delicious juice, like you're helpless, like you're walking into the lion's den. Who could resist that delicious juice?
He's gonna lure you in with carrot celery juice. Yeah. It's and it's funny that Ted buys all this stuff because it goes along with the narrative. He wants to believe that's what's happening. So he's like, if I buy these vegetables, then surely that's the story.
It's almost like the vegetables and the fruit are his armor. Like if I hold these in front of me,
does this make
I'm going over here in good faith. Because she said, let's make some juice.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I will say just a shout out to Kobe. Fantastic bit of acting when Ted tells Robin, we broke up. And she's smiling while saying the other words.
A+.
A+.
Superstar acting. I mean, just hilarious and like full of like it's a moment that is electric because you're like this is on, but it's also funny, but it's also good acting. Like I thought the same thing. She's so great there.
I liked when Ted is on the phone with Lily and Lily's talking some like kind of ethical sense into him. I remember I was doing something like damn it, like yes. Which I think I stole from Dustin Hoffman somewhere in Tootsie. Like there's some sort of like
good thing to steal from.
Damn it, like
why are you always right?
I really liked the that face is not for her. He's not doing it audibly. It's just his own internal combustion. You know.
Yeah, I love that moment too. That is an excellent half of a phone call acting, which of course you're not really acting with Allison Hannigan at that moment. Someone is off screen reading her lines with you, and you were very in it in this episode. You were very in the dilemma. And I will say, just to defend Ted for a second, he's not just trying to have sex with a pretty girl. He does love Robin. Like there is that other side to it. He is imagining something deeper that will come from this.
This isn't like drunk at McLaren's making out with the girl who just got broken up with. It's
not Barney. He's not being Barney. There is Ted does not have a point. If you know what I mean, there is something there, which is what makes this so interesting of a dilemma, I think.
Well, it's also you guys constructed it in such a way that you brought the long distance headache of it to the boiling point where it's like, I can't connect with her. I feel so far away from her.
That seed's been planted.
Yeah. It's really, it's masterfully constructed to have all of it kind of come to a head and explode in this episode. It's engineered. Tip of the hat dramaturgically to you guys.
Thank you. And a huge shout out to Carter Bays, who I do believe, I feel like this one was more him than me, although I think we both really loved working on this one. But the idea of the ghostly Victoria, I feel like that was Carter. Because I just remember being so excited about it in a way that makes me feel like it wasn't my idea. Because if it was my idea, I'd probably been like, it's okay. Rule of writing number 1, everything's better with a ghost. You know what I mean? It just makes it very exciting. There's a ghost in this episode, and you're like, oh, I didn't know they were doing ghosts on this CBS sitcom at 8 o'clock. Like, I didn't know we were doing Hamlet here.
Yeah. I'd like to point out that I think, I could be wrong, I think this might be your first right after the original right, and it's subtle. It's right as you're getting on top of until Ted is getting on top of Robin. You're kissing, and she says something, and you.
I can't believe that we're making it right. It's great. You guys were really electric in that whole thing. It was just like, what's going to happen? It's a suspense episode. It's a ghost story. It's a little bit of a horror movie. And there's a Korean Elvis. It kind of is everything you could ever ask for in 22 minutes of TV, I think. I like this one.
I loved when Marshall says, you just got burned phonics style.
Phonics style. I guarantee you that was Chris or Phil. That was
or
Chris,
you. That
Chris
could be a you joke.
It could have been me, but I think it was Lord Miller. Because if it was me, it's just me stealing their verbatim, I think. Their vernacular. That's a very Chris and Phil. Shout out to them line.
When did you guys come up with the kind of like ultimate plot point, which is the phone switcheroo?
I mean, again, I think technologically we're like, sometimes that happens because it's 2006. I think it was, what really undoes Ted here? And it could really only be that, right? I mean, I think it was just by process of elimination, like what will destroy everything? If Robin hears directly from Victoria, it destroys everything. And we just, I think, concocted a way that could happen. She's not going to walk in the door. She didn't get on a plane from Germany to come surprise Ted at Robin's apartment, right? It had to be that. I think we just got there. But when watching it last night for the first time in many years, I was delighted by it because I was like, surprising but inevitable.
Yep.
And maybe a little technologically outdated, but it works, right? It works. We never said it wasn't 2006.
But when he comes out there and she's on the phone and her whole energy is so different, and I remember Ben Lee, my dear friend who I used to make music with as Radner and Lee, as I'm always plugging my other project. But he told me that we used to talk about how bad we are or would be at being like bad dudes. Like I never wrote this song, but I thought it was kind of like a good line for a country song to say, I dance poorly when I dance with the devil.
Oh, that is a good line.
Like my moves don't work when I'm dancing with the devil.
Right.
And Ben told me, he said, I tried on like the costume of like a dickish rocker for like a couple months. And everyone was like, what are you doing?
You can't do this.
You can't do this. But other people who that's their whole brand, they just start off, they do it. And not only do they do it, they seem to get away with it for quite a while.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yes.
But if you're constitutionally a nice, kind, thoughtful person,
right. It's gonna eat you alive.
Karma gets you quicker. Karma gets you much faster. I feel like, how many times has Barney how many times has Barney like given a false name, had a whole false thing, and he just seems to get away with it because he never claimed to be anything different. Whereas Ted actually, the ethics does matter to him. He does want to be a good guy. He is constitutionally honest. And when he tries to deceive Victoria and himself on a huge level, and Robin, it boomerangs so fast back at him.
It's really true, because guys like Barney, even though there's definitely a heart and soul in there, as we've discussed, and as we see as the seasons go on, Barney's in the armor building business. Barney's building armor, starting with that suit. And the more bad crap you do, the more you build up your armor, I think. And when you're the guy that doesn't do the bad stuff and you do it once, you get burned and it hits you and there's no armor there. And that's kind of what the end of this episode is, and why the future narrator Ted frames the story the way he does. He gets burned.
But that's what I mean, though, about How I Met Your Mother being a moral or ethical universe where, like, you can't get away with it that long. Like there's some sort of comeuppance for unethical behavior.
By the way, here's another good country song title. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Please somebody write that country song and send it to us.
It's a good one. We have reached a point in our show that we like to call Questions and Observations from a clinical psychologist who's never seen How I Met Your Mother and also happens to be married to Josh.
I like this episode because it shows Ted wrestling with a moral dilemma. We get to see his conscience at work. Lily and Marshall sort of represent the angel on his shoulder, his moral compass. And Barney is, a little more devilish, let's say. And it's interesting to watch Ted stuck in between, with Victoria as a literal manifestation of him negotiating between the two parts of himself. The part that just wants to say whatever and be with Robin and feels like the right thing to do is to follow his heart. And the part that knows that the right thing to do is to be honest. And I just think as an audience member, watching Ted go through this makes him even more multidimensional, even more human. We all have that devil and angel on our shoulders. It's relatable. And then even further, watching him mess up and get burned, that too is relatable. So I just think this episode, while painful to watch, goes a long way in making Ted a character that feels more real to us.
That's so smart. And that was very much the intention. And we've said it a couple times this season, it's really interesting the moments we pick to show that Ted messes up too, and that he's not going to be giving some amazing speech every week. He's not always going to want the right thing. Underneath all of this nefariousness in this episode is something true-hearted and sweet. At the core of it, Ted really does love Robin, and he really did love her before he ever met Victoria. But he's not doing the right thing here, and I do think that humanizes him. This is one of my favorite Ted episodes of season 1, and maybe of the series, because of exactly what Jordan. I couldn't say it better myself. That's what makes this one so interesting and makes Ted so human. And I feel like your performance in this one, you felt it. You felt excited acting in this episode, and I could see it.
Yeah. Well, it's also true. Like if someone presents themselves to me as this kind of like infallible kind of exemplar of moral rectitude, I find it actually not only boring, but like quite suspicious, right?
Yeah,
I think there's something about like piety is very kind of overrated and annoying. But if someone presents, hey, I'm vulnerable, I'm flawed, let me tell you 3 ways I messed up. Do you want to connect? Do you want to have a conversation? Or can I tell you what I learned? That is how we solicit kind of, we get people on our team by showing how human we are, not how perfect we are, infallible we are.
Yeah.
That all that does is kind of make us turn on ourselves and go, oh, I'm not like this guy. I'm not like
Right.
this person, right? But I think also when you're creating a character that you're presumably, we didn't know it at the time, but going to follow for 8 more seasons, you want to feel like there, you know, I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of about Ted is that he, while his heart was in the right place, his feet were often pointed in the wrong direction, you know, or his head was going one way, his heart was going another way, his dick was going another way. Like he was a man at odds with himself a lot.
Yes.
But he ultimately he had to learn patience. He had to learn, he had to fail more. He had to struggle. And I would say when I started playing Ted, I also had, to get a little scuffed up more, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we all, you know, I think that's a good thing to teach, whether it's your kids or anyone else you're teaching, like, don't bemoan your failures. Your failures are where your character gets forged.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's what he's telling his kids on some level. Like your old man really stepped in it in this one.
Yeah. And he's not hiding it from them. He's not being pious. He's not being falsely pious.
And he's not hiding it from them. And that should solicit a kind of trust from his kids. Like, I'm an honest, you know, both my sisters, who I think are wonderful mothers, they apologize to their kids. They say, I screwed up this time, or I'm not going to get everything right. I'm winging it. I'm trying to figure this out as we go.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry. I think I misjudged that one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing you can do as a parent.
That's the best thing you can do. That is very much what I tell my nanny to tell my kids. I don't really spend much time with my kids. That's a joke. That's completely fucking out.
Your dad really screwed up this time. When he's back from his yacht trip, he's going to take you for ice cream.
No, that's the best thing you can show your kids, that level of honesty. And I'm a human being. And I think future Ted's a good dad for doing that. And he may overshare at times, but I do think that showing your kid that you're a human being is huge, because then they get to be too.
Yeah.
And that's a gift.
Well, we've reached the final act of our episode, and something we like to do on this last part of the episode is read one of the many astonishingly beautiful letters that we receive.
We love
How We
these.
Made Your Mother. Yeah,
they're so good.
So if you would like, again, a reminder, if you'd like to send us a letter, let us know what the show has meant to you and what your relationship is with the show. Or you can write us a letter. You can record an audio, but go to howwemadeyourmother.com. Go to contact and follow the instructions there. Should be pretty clear. Today's letter is from Shiwan. Hi, my name's Shiwan. I'm 23 years old and I'm from North Wales, although I'm currently living in London. I've been thinking about what to say here since the podcast came out, but now I have something I really want to say. Trust the process here. I don't remember when I first started watching Him Yum. It used to air on E4, a British TV channel, when I just started exploring grown-up TV for myself, so I must have been around 9 or 10 years old. It's a little young to watch a show, but that's fine. But it's safe to say, I don't remember not watching Him Yum. For years, I wanted to be a news reporter like Robin, and then I wanted to be a judge like Marshall. Around the time the podcast first came out, I was applying for a master's course in screenwriting. I'd been offered an interview and was preparing for it. I was listening to the podcast. I heard Josh talk about the Kierkegaard quote about only being able to live your life forwards, and a penny dropped. I can't tell you how much that resonated with me. Growing up watching Him Yum, call it nature or nurture, I found myself to be a person who looks obsessively for signs from the universe and tries her best to romanticize reality. I actually used the Kierkegaard Josh quote. I'm glad I'm getting credited for this quote in my interview.
Josh.
And I found out today that I got in.
Yay.
All right. Congrats. Master's courses and Danish philosophers aside, Him Yum has played a really big role in my life, from when I'd watch episodes on E4 to when I began to collect the DVDs at age 12 to now, my 20s. I wasn't the happiest of teenagers. But here was this show that taught me to trust the process of my life, to look for signs from the universe, and to romanticize everything in my life, from the good to the really crappy, because those were the things that shaped my story. At my lowest, I'll still go back to find a speech of Ted's to ground me. And whenever I see a yellow umbrella in the wild, I take it as a sign to keep trusting the process. So thank you. for a wonderful show that has taught me and so many others that simply everything will be okay. Thanks for this podcast and its help with Masters interviews. Love from the other side of the Atlantic, Shiwan, aspiring screenwriter, no longer aspiring judge.
Fantastic. Congratulations. That's the best. I love everything about that.
Romanticize reality. I like that phrase. And it's a lot of what we were talking about. I think to have a show where everything works out and people just keep going from success to success to success feels really dishonest. And we were trying to make an honest show.
I am guilty. Please acquit me. All sins are forgiven in New York City.
How We Made Your Mother is hosted and executive produced by Josh Radnor and Craig Thomas. The show was produced by me, Alek Lev, and our co-producer is Doug Matica. Our audio producer and mixer is Alex Reeves at Point of Blue Studios, and our digital content producer, aka Gen Z Master, is Emily Blumberg. Artwork by John Morrow. Please follow, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts or your podcast player of choice. It really does help the show. Our theme song is NYC by our own Josh Radnor, with additional music by Craig Thomas and Andrew Majewski. Special thanks to Lola Kennedy and Elliot Connors. Visit howwemadeyourmother.com to sign up for our Substack mailing list and for links to our social media. You can also click on the contact page to send us an email or a voice message. Your stories and questions are an important part of the show. Want some merch? Click on the store link or go to howyougetyourmerch.com. Subscribe to Josh Radnor's Museletters on Substack. Order Craig Thomas's debut novel at craigthomaswriter.com/novel. And you could subscribe to my Dead Fathers Society, also on Substack. To learn about how you make a difference, this show's ongoing campaign to raise money for congenital heart disease research, check out the Make a Difference tab at the top of our website. This episode was made possible by the support of Backyard Ventures. People will, in fact, dance.
The real question, it just hit me. Am I in love with you or just New York City?